The following broadcast is a presentation of iRacing Motorsport Simulations live on PTR-TV. We'd like to thank all of our partners for their support.
He may get the run on the outside off of the back straightaway. 26 and Hallmark trying to go 3 wide. No one's with him.
Talking and bobbing and weaving down the back straightaway, looking for a way around. The 5 machine trying to take a look underneath the 3 car. He's gonna dive in down to the bottom. A huge move down to the bottom of the racetrack.
Back bumper. Can anything happen through the tri-oval? Walker Thomas to the inside. Here he comes to the outside. Side by side through the tri-oval. The 14. It's gonna be a photo finish to the line. Who's gonna get it? Walker Thomas.
Machine coming out of turn number 4. Tiller looking to go 3 wide, almost 4 wide. He's going to try to look for a gap. Bobbing and weaving for the lead down through the trial.
Photo finish.
2 by 2. The 65 gets the win.
Welcome, race fans, to PTR TV on LSRTV. It's a Tuesday night, and we're bringing you live action of the Twitchy Race Reports ASRS Premier Cup Series as they enter their final race of the playoffs, as they cut the final 8 down to 4 heading into the championship round next week. We have 200 laps around the Martinsville Speedway. It's the hashtag CancerSucks200 in memory of all cancer victims, as we pay tribute here tonight with a very pivotal race on the schedule and a lot of bumping and banging and a lot of pressure on the line as these drivers hit the paperclip here in Virginia. Calling the shots tonight is myself, Corey Silva. I got my usual partner, Evan Black, and well, Jim Foose, owner of the league and usually a driver, but kind of Dale Jr. taking a different role. How's it going tonight, Jim?
Man, it's going great. Just happy to be here at Martinsville and happy to have this view tonight instead of the stress of being out on the racetrack with the pressure that's about to hit those drivers going for the championship.
Yeah, no, very good point with the championship, and I know we can give you guys the rundown of who is fighting for what at this point, as qualifying has essentially completed. We are ticking off kind of the administrative time right now in the server, so right now at the top of the board is Jeff Ward. Not much of a surprise, 19-21, but you can see the top 10 there on the left, but I think Evan has the point standings and the drivers fighting for this championship.
Yeah, 8 drivers currently still fighting for that championship, but after tonight it will go down to 4. And currently leading the points, we have Scott Eckridge 7 points ahead of Jared Mogart, who's in 2nd, Brian Yazek in 3rd, 14 points off of Eckridge. Sam Maxwell in 4th, currently holding on to that final position to transfer into the next round. Jeff Ward in 5th, Jeff Ward is tied with Sam Maxwell for that final playoff position. Jordan Ashland in 6th, Mark Emerson in 7th, and Jason Stewart in 8th.
And then to give you the specifics of who needs to do what, I think Jim Foose has the details on what these drivers need to do to get themselves bound for a Homestead chase next week.
Yeah, we got quite the interesting situation here, and every calculation that I've done before the race, balled up and thrown out the window. We got some curveballs thrown at us here pre-race. So Eckridge is 19 points ahead of Maxwell, who's the first driver out. Eckridge should make it in tonight. Shouldn't be too much of a threat unless something really goes wrong with the 70 car. So he should be in. The real battle is going to be between Yazek and Maxwell. There's 5 points that separate them. Yazek with 1 win, 4 top 5s, and 9 top 10s this year. That win coming at Bristol. another short track. While Maxwell has very similar stats, but no wins, 4 top 5s and 8 top 10s. and he sits 5 points behind Yazik. So that's going to be the real battle. And then we were thrown a curveball because the cold-blooded racing team failed to show up in Martinsville. We don't know if they got lost or what happened there. So Jordan Ashland and Mark Emerson are no-shows. And then the only other drivers, Jason Stewart, he's 30 points out. That's a must-win situation to make it into the final round of the playoffs. He has no wins, 1 top 5 and 5 top 10. So must-win for Jason Stewart. And chances, I'm going to be completely honest, they're pretty slim for the number 7.
Yeah, so with that smaller car count, I'm not sure what's going on with that, but with the smaller car count, it does make gaining large amounts of positions a lot more difficult. You're not going to gain all those positions in the points because, well, those positions aren't available. So with, as you said, Jim, that 4th place battle with Yazik and Maxwell and Ward, they are separated by those points and about those 5 points, and they're just right now on the score sheet for the qualifying order. Maxwell is in 5th, Yazik is in 4th, so but that doesn't mean anything. We know Martinsville, how it is, how it races here, and you really want to be on that inside lane to start the race, Evan, but we've done our time here, and we've noticed that, especially these Cup cars, these guys, they can move up the track as this rubber lays into the track.
Yeah, this track is going to change a ton here in 200 laps. Even by lap 25 or 30, we might see some guys running up there in the middle lane and then cutting down on Nexus. This usually here at Martinsville, you see everyone right around that yellow curve, but we're going to see some guys running a lane or 2 up here tonight.
Yeah, it's really going to happen. You're going to see the wheel spin in these Monster Energy NASCAR Cup machines. You're going to see the drivers who have the finesse on the throttle and use those different approaches to try to save the tires. They may persevere later in the run. You may see some drivers start to fall off as the run progresses. And of course, with pit road strategy here, there's sometimes you do want to stay out, sometimes you want to stay out for a couple cautions at a time. Track position is rather vital, and a very difficult long pit road here. Very easy to get caught speeding or lose positions or even have incidents.
Yeah, track position is going to be very important tonight, as it's going to be pretty hard to pass cleanly. You can put the bumper to someone or kind of dorm out the track, but it can be really tough to pass cleanly here at Martinsville.
And remember, with with this league having the 13 incident cap, it being a short track, you have a couple opportunities to maybe use the chrome horn, but if you use that chrome horn too many times, well, you're going to get a very abrupt removal from the race, so you have to keep that in check and try not to get rear-ended. Watch out for that. Watch out for what's going on in front of you and make the best decisions that you can. But these guys are getting lined up on the starting grid, so let's give it to you. The PTR TV on LSRTV starting lineup here from the Martinsville Speedway. On the pole tonight with a lap time of 19.210. Jeff Ward, congratulations for him on that lap. And then Scott Eckrich outside of the front row. In 3rd, we have Jordan Harnish and Brian Yazik in 4th. Sam Maxwell in 5th. Mitch Brown in 6th. And then Mark Whitley and Jared Haggerty 7th and 8th.
And rolling off in the 9th position, we have Tyler Seville and that number 11 Toyota Camry. In the 10th position, we have the 41 of Tim Knott. 11th, Jack Wells. 12th, Troy Haight. 13th, the 25 of Chris Titus, 14th, the 00 of Jared Mogard, and 15th, Mark Cohn, and 16th, we have Jason Stewart.
And rounding out the field, Nick Hoffman showing there he will not take the green flag, but we have Richard Fletcher and Steve Puhala rounding out your field here at Martinsville.
Yeah, I'm sorry to you, Jim. You had a very small grid roll off there, but there'll be 18 cars rather on the grid tonight, but still that is more than enough. It's kind of what you expect to see when you do the iRacing official races. Usually about 20 cars on the grid, and we know those can be very action-packed and expect nothing else than that tonight. Weather conditions here at Martinsville, 70 degrees in the air, 96 degree track temp, about a 5.5 mile an hour southwest wind, so maybe a little bit more grip, guys, on the track here with that slightly cooler weather.
Yeah, it's going to help these drivers out a lot with the wheel spin coming out of these corners, because they're going to have a lot of that with the 750 horsepower that these Monster Energy Cup cars have. So any cooler track temp that they can get is really going to help them out.
You know, we've mentioned wheel spin in the whole pre-race and leading up to this. This race, it's a short track, and it's a tight little short track, but it could really come down to a driver that's good on dirt having having the advantage towards the end of the race on the older tires when it's slip sliding around and you got to change lanes and move around a little bit. I got to pick Jared Bogart. Every time he starts at the back, he wins the race. He's a dirt guy. He's starting at the back tonight. I think he's going to win it.
Yeah, that's very good. Good spin on it, Jim. No pun intended there. But yeah, once with some guy who's used to wheeling it, he's used to having to use that counter steer, having to really throttle, well, you know, modulate that throttle and not getting too much yaw. That skill could very easily translate over here to the Martinsville Speedway. So kind of maybe a Williams Grove type aspect, depending which car you're driving. So first pace lap down and a half mile of pacing to go, and we will have a green flag tonight.
And I'm going to be interested to see which lane does prevail down here in turn 1 and 2. I know sometimes we can see that outside lane take the lead, so if Eckrich can stay door to door entering turn 1, he might be able to get the lead out too.
Yeah, but if he cannot, there's a good chance he may lose about 5 or 6 positions, maybe not that much, but it could be very well be. You get freight trained here is very early in the race, as that outside groove is not quite rubbered in, but the pace car is in a very large restart zone here at Martinsville. So we'll see when Ward decides to get this race underway. It's going to go late in the box there, and there it is on the loud pedal. Green flag racing at Martinsville.
And Eckrich is actually going to have a nose ahead entering turn 1. We'll see if he can clear him out of 2, sliding up the track a little bit on the exit of turn number 2, and he's going to get a little bit free off, allow Jeff Ward to clear for the lead. But he's trying to fight back up there in the outside lane through 3 and 4, but I don't think the outside has come in quite yet as Jeff Ward clears once again.
Yeah, first lap complete here at Martinsville, and Eckrich will fall back into line, and you'll see everyone right around that inside curb. You don't want to hit that curb because that will upset the car and wash you up the track, open up the door for somebody else. But look at Eckrich, Jim. Look at him. He's doing that kind of that late apex, trying to get that runoff corner exit. Yeah,
he's a short track hot dog, no pun intended there. This is his wheelhouse, and you know, I mean, he's one that definitely has something for the field here. He'll find a way to get to the front. He leads a lot of laps. We'll just see, again, 200 laps is a long way to go, and we'll see where he is in about 175, and we'll see if he's up there.
Yeah, that really late braking there, and he's entering in the second lane, trying to cut off of the corner exit, get a straighter run off of the down the straightaways, carry some momentum. He's trying it, not quite working, but you got to be really persistent in doing it. But these two drivers already pulled up by almost a second over Jordan Harnish, who is battling with Brian Yazik for that third spot. And then you can see Sam Maxwell, and right behind Maxwell is Brown, kind of in their own bubble. And right after that, all the way back to 7th, Jared Haggerty is kind of leading the remainder of the field.
Yeah, and 7th on back is still pretty tight. Like you said, Jared Haggerty leading that group there.
Makes me almost wonder if we're going to start lapping the field really early. I'm looking at the intervals, guys. We're already down to about 10 seconds off the leader, going back to about Jack Wells and Steve Buhala at the tail end of the field. So about 20-second laps here at Martinsville. We may be lapping cars within 10 laps.
Yeah, when you have a 20-car field like we have tonight, a lot of the cars are already going to be about a half lap behind by the time everyone else is taking the green, so you can lose a lot of time just from that. But Eckrich is still hounding Ward for the lead up there, but not able to get next to him. But he's driving in way deeper and getting right to his back bumper through the corners.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's allowing the 44 of Harnish to catch up. The 44 doesn't have anything to lose. He's got no points to worry about here. But it seems like he's reeling in the top two, and they are bumper to bumper.
Yeah, that nearly some contact. If it was rather slight. Just kind of set of the nose here, and that little bit of contact in the center of the corner. It's not enough to upset Ward, but it's just enough to let him know that Eckrich is there, and he may be losing his patience slowly, and as each lap goes by.
Yeah, you can see Eckrich is already trying to move up a lane, just trying to find any way he can get a good run out of these corners and try and get next to him, driving in really deep there into turn 1, now cutting down on the exit of turn 2, and it's working. He's getting a pretty good run. He's within a half car length. Let's see if he can get any more here in 3 and 4.
And you will see that progressive groove that iRacing has modeled. It will start to darken up, and that is going to be the visual indicator that these guys will start moving up the track. It's already starting to be prevalent.
Yeah, Eckrich already running that outside lane, and it's working for him for the moment. Looks like these guys are pulling away a little bit from Harnish now. He had started to close in, but now these top two pulling away once again, and it looks like Eckrich might have already gotten into the wall a little bit. He has a bit of right front damage there.
Yeah, I think he did get into the wall just a little bit on the front straightaway at one point, but just trying to get the widest possible entry into the corner. But it is 12 laps in, guys. We are starting to get spread out, and Evan, we did a similar race to this in a league we ran, and it ran rather green because everybody's getting into their own little zone. You don't usually see long green flag runs at a short track, and you know, for saying this, I'm obviously going to jinx it and we'll end up having a caution within 5 laps, but it kind of is showing some green flag flare right now, guys.
Yeah, it seems like the top 6 are all kind of just in packs of 2, and everyone behind, everyone's pretty much 7th on back is still pretty close together, but they're already about to come up on some lap traffic. Just in front of them, Richard Fletcher in that 47.
Yeah, this is not typical Martinsville. Usually they stay bunched up a lot more than what we're seeing, but this spread out 2 cars at a time is a little bit different. Might see a little bit more green flag racing than a lot of the guys expected. And as I say that, here comes Eckrich with the bumper. Almost got to Ward.
Kind of brings you a little bit of memories back towards the old classic battles at Martinsville. Jeff Gordon versus Jimmy Johnson, always having the bumper action and a couple really good finishes those drivers were able to put on. So we'll see if maybe there's a similar approach here, as again Eckrich diving it down in there as they did laps 1 driver there up on the top of the racetrack. So that was, as you said, Richard Fletcher. Apologies, he is in a Black Bandit tonight. Not sure about that, but we did fix one of them. Jeff Ward has been a Black Bandit for a couple weeks, but someone did kind of help me get that paint scheme situated.
Yeah, it only took somebody stepping out of their car and coming on over to headquarters and showing you guys how to do stuff, huh?
Well, you could take my job next season, because you're still looking for a broadcaster, but hopefully next season of the American Sim Racing Series lines up 2019. Unfortunately, it will not be covered by us, but another season looking forward to being had for them next year. As Jim, what are you guys on, 16 seasons now of this league dating back?
This is our 18th year of existence, all the way back to, 17th year of existence. I'm already working on 2019, dating back to 2002. So we've been around a long time, gone through a couple different sims, had a lot of races. I mean, we've got well over, I believe, 1,500 races under our belts, and a long time. This is actually, I would say there's been less than 10 ASRS races that I was eligible to race in that I didn't compete in, and this is one of the first ones that I haven't been in. So this is definitely a different perspective.
Yeah, it's always interesting coming from the booth perspective and really getting a kind of a satellite image of the track and trying to see everything that is going on. And the best battle on the track, well, it is the one that we're watching right now for the lead, but not to discredit another battle going on. Sam Maxwell and Mitch Brown are battling for the 5th position, kind of yo-yoing a little bit. Every time Maxwell does pull away, Brown really gains some time. It looks like Brown is diving in deeper into the corners, as we saw Eckrich doing, but is not able to maintain that momentum on corner exit.
Yeah, we're seeing a couple different lines there from Maxwell and Brown. Maxwell running a bit higher, trying to take a later apex, and it's working for him as he is now starting to pull away a little bit, coming up on the 47 of Richard Fletcher. We'll see where Fletcher decides to go, if he will give Maxwell the outside or if Sam will have to go down to the inside. He's going to go down to the bottom of that 47, entering turn 3.
It was interesting. Maxwell and Brown both had issues with each other in the practice session before the race. So we'll see if the bumper tag is over and done with, or if it's going to continue here during the race.
Yeah, we will see what goes on as 24 laps into the race, and we go through the field. Other battles going on. You can see a little bit further back there's about 3 or 4 cars still within close proximity. Tyler Seville, Tim Knott, and Mark Cohn. That is 9th, 10th, and 11th at the moment. And believe it or not, these guys are already 3/4 of a lap down, about 15 seconds off your leaders.
And Tyler Seville, last time by, he was about 3/10 slower than our leader. So these guys will be going a lap down here and probably another 10-15 laps. So at the pace these top two are running, this whole field could be lapped if we stay green.
You know, Harnish and Yazik are getting a little feisty back there for third and fourth as they go around the 25 car.
And right now, Jim, someone that you were talking about that was on the playoff bubble who had to win to really advance with his deficit, that was Jason Stewart, and he's back in 13th now, which 13th is usually a pretty decent run, but he's about to go a lap down. And look at Eckrich trying to use a 76 as a pick. They're 3 wide off of corner number 2 for the lead now with the lapper. Jason Stewart right in front of this.
Now back to 2 wide, but going to be back 3 wide through 3 and 4. Eckrich there in the middle trying to get around Jeff Ward for the lead. Now back to 2 wide, still side by side for the lead. So go down into turn 1 and 2. We'll see if Eckrich can make the outside lane work. Looks like he's going to pinch him down, try and get the good run out of 2, and still pretty even down the back.
That was Jason Stewart and Mark Whitley used as picks there, and Eckrich is going to sail it on up there, maybe a little bit higher than he wanted. Can Ward get the momentum down, get the power down on the inside lane? He's not going to be able to do it. Outside lane works. Give P1 to Scott Eckrich.
So now I wonder if Eckrich is going to be able to pull away. It did seem like he was a bit faster than that 90 of Ward. So I wonder if he'll be able to pull away and gain some ground on that number 90.
You know, there's an interesting story about Eckrich and that 70 car with the AMSOIL sponsorship by Adam Blattel. Adam has been a huge supporter of sim racing since back when I got started in it and when this league started. He actually sponsored the Truck Series a couple years ago, and it's good to see Adam involved with Eckrich's car there and as a sponsorship, and definitely getting some airtime this year as he picked a wheelman to drive his car. So always good to see Adam on board with a team, and good to see sponsorship in the series like that.
Scott Eckrich in the 15 races that have been run, including this race that we're currently in, has 2 wins, 6 top 5s, 8 top 10s. He's been up there nearly every single week. Him and Jeff Ward have been just kind of showing these guys who's boss, but not to discredit other drivers who've had good runs this season. We've talked about Brian Yazik primarily having an excellent truck schedule, but he's still no slouch here in the Cup cars as he's currently running in 5th, and another driver, Jared Mogard, who's had 2 Cup wins this season, he's running in 7th, and again 12 seconds back. He's kind of running in his own bubble right now, and he's in a position right now where he's in 7th. He should be pretty comfortable in this position to carry over till next week.
Yeah, he's running a little bit faster than everyone in front of him except for those top 2. So good lap times coming out. That 00 of Mogard, and he's also faster than everyone behind him. So he should be able to get up to 4th or 3rd here pretty soon.
Well, him and Ward are definitely comfortable. Ward won at Vegas, and Mogard won at Indy, so they're already through to Homestead next week. I think Eckrich is a lock, and then we got to decide between Yazik and Maxwell on who's going to make it.
Yeah,
and they are running in 4th and 5th right now with Yazik and Maxwell. So.
Yeah, right now on the lap graphic, as these guys are taking the stripe to complete lap number 36, you can see on the screen that your 2 leaders are the only 2 drivers that are in the 0.3 of a second bracket, but all the way back to Mogard in 7th in the low 4s, so he is the fastest driver other than the top 2 at the moment. You can see the 2, 3, even 0.4 of a second variance just in the top 10 right now.
Yeah, this is the point in the run where the rear tires really start to fade away, and the guys with the finesse and the good throttle control really start to show themselves, and right now it's looking like it's those top 2.
Jordan Harnish is in 3rd, and Brian Yazik is soon becoming a bigger picture in his rear view mirror. That 55 separated by about 3/4 of a second now, maybe a little bit less, as actually last time by Harnish was a little bit faster, and you can see all these drivers starting to run that later entry into the corners, cutting down on exit as that lower groove is starting to heat up. These guys starting to search around here, especially as this race has been green flag the entire duration.
And at least for the moment, it looks like it could be green flag to the end of the race. And if it is that, when are they going to need to come to pit road? They can, I would say, probably can run about 120, 130 laps. What do you think, Corey?
Well, if we do go, I mean, it's kind of an outlandish thing to say that we're going to have a green to checker race here at Martinsville, but I mean, if these guys are kind of in a mindset where they think that it's going to go that way, then I mean, I think you just draw right down the middle and pit around lap 100. But if you're in a position maybe to gain a couple tenths of a second, you might see some drivers coming maybe as early as lap 90.
Yeah, so they should be able to go at least 120 laps, I would think. So
120 to 140, I would guesstimate.
So window opens between 60 and 80.
But again, with the tire wear, we're already down 1 second from where we started. Leaders now running about in the 23s, 20.4s. But we were starting the race off in the mid-19s, so that drop-off isn't going to get any worse. It's only going to get worse, and the handling is only going to get worse. So there's going to be that boundary of, is it worth having to run an extremely long second stint to gain a little bit of time? I mean, it just really depends on where you are on the track.
Yeah, I think splitting right down the middle is going to be the best idea, but Eckrich coming up on 3 lap cars right in front of him. Tim Knott, Mark Cohn, and Tyler Seville running 9th, 10th, and 11th.
I think what's really going to determine the pit stop is when the first car comes down, because you can gain a good amount of time by being the first car or the second car within a lap or two. But after that, you don't really gain a whole lot by pitting early and short pitting. You lose a lot by staying on the track, but you don't gain as much. So ideally, you want to be the first car to make the last stop in these races, and that seems to be what guys like Eckrich, Ward, and Yazik do very well. We've been very privy with our team this year. Over the last couple weeks, we have an alliance with Loud Pedal Motorsports, and we have access to that information that they have. And they've really helped us decide on our pitch strategy, because I was one that would run the tires off the thing and try to have the shortest run at the end. And that's not exactly the way that you want to do these, especially in the Cup Series with the wheel spin and all the power getting down to the ground.
Yeah, kind of the factor with that is you always have to put into account how much time am I losing by staying out versus guys who have already pitted, and do I have enough time to use those tires and eliminate that deficit before the next stint or before the end of the race. So that's kind of where you have to draw the line. And as we approach 25% distance in the race, Eckrich has pulled out by nearly a second and a half now, guys, and we are already getting to the point of having, we're already into the top 10, starting to go a lap down. Jared Haggerty in the 8th spot. He is tail end of the lead lap, and you can see next car in his mirror is the leader.
So for sure right now, I'd say Scott Eckrich is the best car, but he was fast on the short run too, so he doesn't have just a long run car, because he was hounding that 90 of Jeff Ward from the very first lap, and now even on lap 50 he continued to pull away.
There still may be one more slight transition. We're halfway, we're 50 laps into what we expect to be a 100 lap run, so usually as we kind of see around lap 20, that's when there's a tire fall off and you can kind of see who's doing what and someone's going to persevere. But as we get into the hyper extended part of this run towards the very end, there may still be a little bit of fall off, and you may still see if Ward has a little bit more on the tires. Maybe he will start to itch into that lane, and it will. If I could speak English at this point, he can
inch into the lead.
Yes, a little bit, but it's not seeming to be the case thus far.
There goes Eckrich by the number 6 of Jared Haggerty, so only 7 cars on the lead lap now, and Maxwell is only about a straightaway in front of Eckrich, so it won't be too long before he catches up to him.
And Maxwell in the 98 is the driver right now that needs to gain. He's outside looking in on the playoffs going to the Final Four. So you might see him pit a little bit early, try to make up some time, but that is really going to be risky. And by the way, Corey, you know, they do have hooked on phonics at Menards, so I'm sure that we can pick one up for you and have it ready at Talladega next week.
Oh, Talladega, you got to love that one, because that is a race that I'm actually... Jim, have you guys, in all seriousness, have you done any testing with the Cup car on the plate tracks? We know there was some draft model updates in the last build, and I personally haven't got to really experience them too much.
I haven't done anything with the Cup car since it's a truck race next week, but really haven't done a lot of testing. Figured that you know, we might just unload there, figure out how to do it, and I'm sure before we get on track next Tuesday that we will we'll get some sessions under our belts.
And I think even with the Truck Series, there's been some slight changes, but I mean, Truck Series, you know how those draft. I mean, within what they've done in the past couple of years, you can really do 2-3 wide easily, especially Talladega. I mean, you can run 4 wide if you have the right bunch of guys, so it really is a terrifyingly exciting experience. But again, we still have 44 laps, 143 laps to go in this race, and the lead kind of stabilizing at about 1 3/4 seconds between Eckrich and Ward, and then we go back now 8.5 seconds approximately back to Jordan Harnish, who has pulled away by about 1.5 seconds over Yazik. Remember, Yazik was in with about 0.6 of a second, but has dropped off rather quickly. We go back another 4.5 seconds to Mitch Brown, who's 15 seconds off the lead. This is a battle for position now with Jared Mogard. Mogard takes the inside. Brown gets all the way into the asphalt, which is banked differently, and that really upsets the car. Drops back, so now Brown back to the 6th spot.
Mogard's been running some pretty good lap times, pretty comparable up there with the top 2, so I think right now he would just like a caution to kind of take care of that 14.5 second gap.
I'll tell you guys, I've been watching Sam Maxwell. He's really loose this time into the corner, but he's been moving his lane up the track. He's not at the bottom along the curb. He's not a groove and a half up like we expect and like we see a lot of these guys. Sometimes he's 2 lanes up the track, all the way up at the top of the concrete. And I'm not sure if that's helping, hurting him. I don't know if he's trying to save tires, but it just looks like the 98 is struggling to find his place here at Martinsville.
Yeah, he's struggling for speed, so he's just trying any lane he can to try and gain some, and last time by he was only about 1/10 slower than a leader, so if he can keep that up, he may not end up going a lap down here.
Yeah, there's kind of a 2 ways to approach this. You either start moving up the track, or you actually change your focus and you try to run as low as humanly possible and really hook those left sides right against the curb, because it is harder to run right down there at the bottom. So there is a little bit of grip if you can do that, but it's really a thin line, so that's why you will see most of these drivers moving up the track. And as you see, a big wiggle from Maxwell there off of 4.
I'm surprised we haven't seen anybody get down into the grass and try to maybe use the dirt to slide around a little bit, which reminds me, Wicked Cushion December Dirt Week is coming up December 11th through the 13th.
Nice plug there,
I was going to say, was that a planned segue?
I worked on that one, yes.
Yes, that will be covered live via PTR TV on LSRTV, so drivers are... Actually, I will let you talk all about that one, Jim, because, well, you know more about it than me. It's your event.
Yeah, we have the UMP Modifieds and the 410 Sprint cars are going to be there Tuesday and Wednesday, and they each have a preliminary, not a preliminary, feature race. Tuesday, I believe, is the Modifieds. Wednesday is the 410 Sprints. Thursday is the Super Late Model 100 lapper. It's all going to be at the dirt track at Charlotte. Very exciting format. Has a pretty big purse so far. I think we're like $378 or something like that on the purse. There's Maxwell sideways. But yeah, Wicked Cushion came on board as a sponsor, and they've just elevated that event. Entries $10 for non-ASRS members. I mean, you can't beat it to race for right now. The winner's going to take over $175 home, so you really can't beat that.
Well, if I wasn't commentating it and I had any idea how to drive on dirt, I would most certainly be there, but have a strange feeling even if I could be there, I would not be in contention. But for those who are good on the dirt side of iRacing and you're available on those nights, by all means, how can they find the signups for that, Jim?
Well, we have the Facebook page, Dirt Week Events by American Sim Racing Series. It's also on the American Sim Racing Series website, americansimracing.com. By the way, Corey, I've seen you in those outlaw races on Thursday nights. Yeah, we'll be glad to have you up in the commentating booth.
Right. This is my cup of tea, as I've said many a time. Martinsville is my my favorite track. I mean, going back to me being a Jeff Gordon fan, I mean, this is where, towards the end of his career, not saying that I am at the end of my career, but this is where he was always able to get those good runs, and ultimately his last win, just some drivers have a knack for it, so I still like to stay on the asphalt side of things. But you can see Jared Mogard and Mitch Brown still duking at it for that 5th position. As guys, we are on lap 70. And again, clean and green for anybody tuning in. We had a slightly smaller than average grid here, but we've had these guys just encompassing this Martinsville Speedway clean as can be. Had a battle for the lead between Ward and Eckrich about 40 or some odd laps ago, and well, Eckrich got the lead, and here he goes now lapping the 7th place car. Sam Maxwell's next car on his checklist.
And Eckrich is right on his back bumper. He just can't seem to get the exits that he needs to get underneath him. He's really good on the entry of the corners. As you can see him taking a dive underneath him, but not going to be able to get there through the center. Out of turn 4 now, and still, he just cannot get out of these corners good enough to get underneath him, but he's getting into him really good.
Yeah, Maxwell's struggling in that 98. He has really got a handful.
Yeah, we'll go on board with from the rear deck lid of Maxwell, and you can see he has that 70 just all over his mirror, and not a good exit of 4, but Maxwell's trying his hardest to stay on the lead lap, but unfortunately that was not going to be a long-lasting battle, because there goes Eckrich by, and Maxwell will be the lucky dog. But it's hard to have a lucky dog, guys, when you don't have a caution, and there's not really anything on the track. Maybe a self-spin of somebody getting a little bit loose on exit. I can't really see any kind of contact-based cautions coming out.
Yeah, everyone has been racing really clean so far. Hopefully they can keep it up, and I don't think I've ever seen green flag pit stops at Martinsville, so hopefully we can get some of those, which we probably will be in about 25 laps.
And we already have some retirees from the event. Tyler Seville, Chris Titus, and Steve Buhala have already retired from the event. That does leave 15 drivers active on the speedway right now. Richard Fletcher being the 15th place car, 3 laps down. We are down to 6 drivers on the lead lap. It's Scott Eckrich, who's up by 2.5 seconds over Jeff Ward, and Jordan Harnish is down 11 seconds in 3rd. Brian Yazik is down 14.5 seconds in 4th, and as they refresh and go over the stripe, Jared Mogard is 15.5 seconds back in 5th, and just about 16 seconds off is the 16 of Mitch Brown. 18 of Mitch Brown, rather.
It's not very often that 3rd place is 11 seconds behind the leader at a short track or any asphalt oval.
No, I mean, this is just one of those fluke circumstances where we're just seeing a really bigger than usual speed variance amongst these drivers, and obviously up front we're seeing the usual too. I mean, for that matter, we'll throw in Harnish and Yazik, guys that we usually see up front, but just the variance between all of them is just far more than, I mean, we've ever seen it.
And Harnett, actually really all the top 3 were really close last time by, separated by only 0.03 of a second. Jeff Ward being the slowest there of the top 3.
Throw Mogard in there as well with a good lap.
Yeah, they were all in the 6s there, but now, this time by, Eckrich was the only one in the 6. Actually, there goes Jeff Ward also in the 6s. It changes a lot. It's only 20-second lap times.
It's just really easy, especially at this really late point in the run. It's just very easy to be inconsistent. You think that you're doing the right thing, or think that you're entering and exiting the corner the same way you did the last lap, but just with the tire wear compounding, the track getting more heat and rubber into it, it's just, you have to constantly be adjusting how you're driving the car and how you're approaching these corners. And I mean, we don't talk about it too much with the marbles getting cleaned up on the racetrack, but this is the kind of track that the marbles will even start to form with all this rubber going down.
You know what, now we're seeing Mogard just got around Yazik. Yazik's dropping back. He missed the corner about a lap and a half ago, and he lost all his momentum, and now Mitch Brown goes around him.
Yeah, Yazik went from 4th to 6th, and now that puts him last on the lead lap. And these guys now, they were about 16 seconds back last I called it, about maybe 2 minutes ago. Now that's already pushing 18 seconds, and Leaders running mid-20s, so only about 3 seconds or so. And you can see here from the long shot, that's Eckridge coming off turn 4 right now as Yazik comes into turn 1. So only the length of a straightaway Yazik has before he's next on the hit list.
And Yazik, he is having some major handle issues. He was 0.4 of a second slower than the leader last time by, and he is really dropping off of Brown and Mogart. So there is something wrong with those tires. Probably just overdrove them.
He's a prime candidate to come in. Short pit now. We got about 15 laps before halfway, and maybe hope that there's a caution a little bit along the way. You guys have talked about green flag pit stops. I don't recall ever doing it here myself, and I don't know if any of these guys have. That could present a situation where somebody loses control, misses the entrance to pit road, goes over the grass and curbing over there in turn 3 and spins and brings out a caution. So we may get some on pit road before that, and I mean it's just something to think about. Another thing to look at. These guys, the truck race here earlier in the year was 150 laps. This is a 200-lap race. This is the longest race we've ever run here with this league. So the physical demands of turning the car constantly 400 times in this race, and as hard as you have to here, could really, really play a factor in the driver that ends up persevering at the end and winning.
Yeah, I know me and Corey, we ran, I think, a 125-lap race here in the trucks, and I don't know about him, but I know I was worn out after the race, so 200 laps in a cup car, that's going to be pretty rough.
Yeah, most certainly is. And Jim, I mean, going back to the pit stops for a second, you may have to take off your commentator hat and put on your admin hat. This is a very easy pit road for drivers to kind of try to sneak a little bit of extra time in the corners here. I'm assuming in the rule book, these guys will have to run right up on that second groove on the pit lane, right against the wall.
Well, actually, they will be able to use the pit road under green minus the pit boxes. So we'll take a look. Really wasn't anything on the agenda because we weren't expecting green flag pit stops tonight. So we'll leave that one up to Nick Hoffman and the boys up in the admin booth. And I'm going to stay up here with you guys. I'm going to stay out of that tonight.
I know that's always one of my pet peeves when I run the iRacing official side. Is you'll see usually these stalls in 3 and 4 on the inside. They're not utilized, so drivers will try to shorten the corner here, and not necessarily what you're supposed to do, but drivers do it. So again, Jim, you're not the admin tonight, so you're going to call it with us and see what these guys do. But that lap is soon approaching, and Yazik is slowly losing his ability to stay on the lead lap. Now he's within a second of going a lap down, and well, right in front of him, it's not just Yazik, because as we said, Mogart and Brown are in very close proximity to Yazik, so we will be literally, guys, going to 3 cars on the lead lap in the not too distant future, but pit stops may interrupt that.
Yeah, Yazik, he probably should come down pit road here just before he goes a lap down, or maybe just after he goes a lap down. He needs to be the first one, or he just needs to be on pit road before Eckridge, so he can try and get his lap back, and then hopefully be able to stay on the lead lap. He's really loose down the backstretch, which usually is not where you get loose, but he spun out down the backstretch there.
Yeah, Yazik, he should just, in all honesty, pit this lap while he does have any kind of advantage, because he could use that as a buffer to get himself a little bit more of a buffer before he goes a lap down. But of course, that'll go on the other side of the run. You pit early, have the benefit on the early end, but you'll have to run just that little bit longer of a stint to end the race out. And well, I don't think he at this point wants to be out there right now, let alone having to do 105 laps to end the race out.
See, when he does decide to come to pit road, it's gonna, I would have thought he would have by now, but I don't know if maybe he's waiting until Eckridge gets by him, just hoping that there could be a caution and he can stay on the lead lap. We'll see here if he comes down this time.
Yeah, so
and Jeff Ward on pit road.
Yep, so a couple laps before halfway, second place. He was about 4 seconds off of the lead. So this is the lap that he will come to pit road, and we'll see if Eckridge soon follows to try to eliminate any gain that Ward is trying to accomplish. Not this time by. Eckridge does stay on the racetrack.
Which Eckridge, he can afford to stay on an extra 4 or 5 laps, and he'll probably still be in the lead, so he can do that, and then he will have a little bit fresher tires than Ward. We'll see what he decides to do. Is now he's right on the back bumper, that 55 of Yazek. Has a few more guys coming down pit road now.
Yeah, Mark Cohn, Jared Haggerty on pit road, Mark Whitley, all drivers multiple laps down at this point, but still waiting on your leader, and there's the break to pit road and locked him up. We'll see if he, I think he made the cone there, but definitely cut it close.
So we'll see how much Jeff Ward does close in by putting about 1 or 2 laps sooner. He's out of 4 now, going to be getting his lap back this time.
And Eckrich has yet to stop in his box, so take about an extra 14 seconds, and having that very short stint out of pit road, we'll keep track on that, as I think Jason Stewart may have gotten the fence there off of 2, trying to get out of the way. Again, not the run that 7 needed. He needed to put it in victory circle, and he is, well, multiple laps down at this point, so not the run he wanted, but here comes Ward off of corner number 2, and Eckrich will hold on to the lead by about 2 seconds.
So Ward did close in a little bit, but not as much as he would have liked to. It's like about 1.8 seconds is the gap between those two right now. Still waiting for Brown, Yazik, Mogard, and Maxwell to come to pit road. Mogard is on pit road now.
Yes, he is, from the 4th position. Now we wait for Mitch Brown, and he has 15 seconds, 13 seconds rather, on Eckrich at the moment. So, I mean, if he runs enough laps and we get a caution, he could draw everyone back to pit road. But again, he kind of shooting for something that isn't even a target right now. I mean, we've seen cautions come out of nowhere before, but it's really going to be a stretch to see one here tonight.
Yeah, Brown wants them to run about another 10 laps or so, and then a caution to come out, and I think by then everyone will want to come down pit road to get some new tires.
You know, I think Yazik has wanted to pit the last few laps, and each time that he gets on the backstretch, there's somebody entering pit road. This time it's Tim Knott. You don't want to enter pit road behind somebody here.
No, you don't. So now he has clear real estate in all directions. So we'll see if he decides to come down from the 2nd spot, and he does not. And you can see him just all over the place there, trying to get some stability on corner exit and even down the straightaways, but does keep it on the track. I think he is also in the category with Brown, there he comes down pit road. So Yazik will be scored as the leader, and I think he is just absolutely praying to the caution gods now, but we'll see if they get fulfilled. But a lot of action going on behind him as drivers are trying to make the most of their fresh tires. That's Jordan Harnish underneath Haggerty, who's a lap down.
You know what he did there? He let a lap for that bonus point to put on the insurance policy, just in case something happens at the end of this race.
Yeah, that was just like I call it Andy Veltman style, who he's not here tonight, but Veltman known for that every single race, staying out there for that bonus point, never knowing when it could be in your favor, it could be necessary, and obviously with the circumstances tonight, every last point can't hurt.
Yeah, because Yazik and Maxwell are still pretty close on the track. Maxwell now coming down pit road. They were on 1st and 3rd, but now we'll see. With Maxwell pitting a bit sooner, he might be able to get by Yazik. We'll see here how much longer Yazik does decide to stay out.
But remember, it is a 5-point deficit right now in between those two drivers. So, but at the moment they are both, actually no, they're not. Yes, there is a 5-point deficit. So now it's 6 points with Yazik having these bonus points. So it's really going to take a pretty big mistake from Yazik, but with how that machine is handling, I mean, you can't count anything out.
Eckrich has gotten by Yazik now for the lead.
So that will put Yazik over 2 laps down when he comes in the pits.
Yeah, I think that was a mistake by the 55. I think they couldn't get in when they wanted to. I think he's coming this time, but I don't think that he could get in the lap that he wanted to, and I think that he just kind of stuck it out there as long as he could. But that's a costly mistake, and that's a mistake that if we had a bigger field here tonight, could have taken him out of the championship.
Yeah, but the good thing for him, at least right now, is Maxwell only pitted about 2 laps before he did, so they were on pretty close strategies, so it probably didn't hurt him too much, but we'll have to see where he ends up cycling out to.
Yeah, it could cost him positions. Well, it will cost him some positions to maybe Harnish and Mogard and Brown, who were kind of in his proximity, because now they will be nearly a lap ahead of him at this point with how long he stayed out there. But it's all going to cycle back to Scott Eckridge, so let's give you a little bit past halfway, give you a field rundown. Leading the race, who's led a race high 74 laps, is Scott Eckridge, and then Jeff Ward in second. We have Jordan Harnish running in third, Jared Mogard running in fourth, and Mitch Brown running at the top 5.
And currently running in sixth, we have Brian Yazik, Sam Maxwell in seventh, Mark Cohn in 8th, Jared Haggerty in the 9th position, and Troy Haight in 10th.
Championship challenger Jason Stewart in the 11th position, Richard Fletcher in 12th, Tim Knott 4 laps down the end to serve a penalty there and come down pit road once again. He's 4 laps down in 13th, Jack Wells in the 80 is 4 laps down in 14th, and Mark Whitley 7 laps down in 15th.
And then other drivers who have already called it quits for the night: Tyler Seville, Chris Titus, Steve Buhala, all behind the wall. That leaves 15 drivers on the track, and as I called it, guys, we're down to 3 drivers on the lead lap. Martinsville, and I mean, I don't know the exact history, Jim, but this has to be pretty close to an ASRS, or at least the Cup Series first.
And Harnish is about to go a lap down here already.
Yeah, he's next on the chopping block. I mean, Jim, do you have to go through the stat sheet of least cars on the lead lap at a Cup race? Because I think we're setting the record tonight.
You know, I left that down in the pits. I didn't think that I'd need it here tonight.
Well, we'll cue the stat guy, have him run down there on a, actually it's a hot track. We can't, there's no passenger, there's no pedestrian tunnel here at Martinsville, so I don't think we can get back into the infield. So, well, that step may have to go unknown, but here comes Jordan Harnish to the outside of the racetrack, giving way for the leader, and it's Scott Eckridge, it's Jeff Ward, and, well, that is your lead lap drivers here, separated by 5.5 seconds, and we're going to step away for a brief side-by-side break and be back with you to cover the remainder of the race, so please stay with us.
And welcome back to Martinsville Speedway as we've gone green since the drop of the green flag. No cautions here. And the final race of the round of 8 drivers.
Yeah, it is the hashtag #CancerSucks200 here at the Martinsville Speedway, and well, as Jim said, we've gone green flag this entire duration. Race summary up, 125 out of 200 laps have been completed. We've seen 5 lead changes. I think one of them was a green flag pass, Ward over losing the lead to Eckrich. But other than that, it was all under green flag pit stop cycles that those happened. So again, and Evan, I'll let you tell the fans at home the list of drivers on the lead lap right now.
Okay, so it's a long list here, so bear with me. We've got Scott Eckrich and Jeff Ward, and that's it.
It's just it's not fun. This is just unheard of. I mean, we've covered you guys all season, Jim, and we've always seen, I don't want to say more competition, we've always seen just tight racing on a lot of just guys just all over each other's bumper, and we've just never seen a race with this kind of disparity in it.
You know, on my way up to the broadcast booth, I was thinking about how we were going to cover our behinds on all the caution laps we were going to be running, and the stuff that we could dig up for that. But man, this is really exciting. And those tires are going to start wearing out here as we're about 25 laps away from the longest distance that we've gone at Martinsville in the league. So that's where we're going to start seeing some things happen, I think.
Yeah, I mean, there's absolutely no way that really anybody can fathom a pit stop at this point. I mean, we see some races where you'll see drivers want to do 2 stops over 1 stop, and seeing how that plays out. Well, everyone's bed's made. It is going to be a run to the checkers, 70 laps approximately at this point. So we've seen Eckrich really hasn't made a flaw tonight. And at this point, he doesn't have to. He's up by 7.5 seconds, and he's running about a 1/10.5 faster than Ward each lap. And we will bring up the lap graphic again and show you the top 10 guys, and see a 20.2, and then we see a 20.3 for Ward, and then guys in the 5s and a couple drivers in the 8s. That's Yazik. So we have 7 drivers. I'm sorry, we have top 2 on the lead lap, and then we have 3rd through 7th is 1 lap down, and then 8th on back is 2 or more at the moment.
Yeah, Maxwell, he's about to go a 2nd lap down here. He's currently in 7th and only has about 3 car lengths over Scott Eckrich, so that'll put it to only 4 cars, 1 lap down, and everyone else 2 or more.
80 of Jack Wells, he sailed it on in there into corner number 3 all the way up to the 3rd groove. He is 5 laps down, but again, and Evan, I think we talked about it last night. It is very good to see that drivers who, I mean, you're not having the best runs, Jack Wells, Tim Knott, Richard Fletcher, but drivers who, they stick it out, they troop it out, and they finish the race out even when it's not going their way.
At this point, I'd say about 1 car is having a good run so far.
You know, Wells comes from the dirt, so he knows how to look for a lane and how to find a different groove when things aren't working, like we do on dirt. Which reminds me, Wicked Cushion December Dirt Week coming up December 11th through the 13th. But Scott Eckrich, on the other hand, is just a hot dog around Martinsville. And, I mean, he is just flying around here. I can't tell you the last time I've seen a car that was that much faster than everybody else in the race.
I think I will say, Evan, I'm pretty sure he'd probably be beating me right now. But I think I'd still be on the lead lap. I like to say that.
I think we'd both be on the lead lap, but we would probably be about 10 seconds behind Eckrich.
So maybe we'd be battling with Ward right now?
Yeah, I think we'd be battling with Ward, but Eckrich, he's out there.
So the stat guy called from the infield.
Oh, did he now? Did we send a drone over to get the notebook?
Well, actually, they texted it, and the best that they could come up with is that 6 trucks finished the Sam Maxwell Customs truck race here in 2016 on the lead lap. So that was a 125 lap race. So we were, 125 laps, so we kind of got to talking about that. So 6, 2, there's a little bit of a difference there.
Yeah, and right now we are headed towards, well, we talked about Yazik. Remember, he pitted much later than everybody else, and it ultimately put him 2 laps down, and right now he is back to 1 lap down. He's exiting corner number 4, hitting the stripe right now. Ekrich is now coming off of 4, so Yazik is about 1 3/4 laps off the pace, and as you said, Maxwell is about to go another lap down. He is next on the hit list for lap number 2. Right ahead of him is Troy Haight. I don't think we've talked about Troy much today. He's 2 laps down, still having a top 10 run. Troy Haight was in the, actually, no, he wasn't. He was not in the playoffs, because Jim, I always get the Truck Series mixed up, because the Truck Series has the extra round in it as opposed to the Cup Series, but Troy Haight currently is 10th in the points, right behind somebody I know that is 9th in the standings, the first one out of the playoffs.
Well, he'll be 9th after tonight with me sitting out tonight and 2 weeks at Homestead, so he'll pass me in the points to be the best of the rest, and that was a title that we didn't want to have, so we'll let him have it.
Yeah, so again, Troy Haight is going for that title, and I think they actually do have that in the real world as well. There's a little bit of a prize, but, well, they had it back when it was 12. I'm not sure 16, but that was a prize that they used to have in the real world, and good to see a little fight for that here in ASRS as we are heading towards the final quarter of the race, as 146 down and 154 to go, and I don't know why I had to think about that. It should have been pretty straightforward, but Maxwell is, for the time being, he is holding off the charge and keeping himself only 1 lap down. But
hey, Corey.
Hey.
Is that common Corey math? Because 146 and 154, that doesn't add up to 200 in my world.
You've watched our broadcast all year, and you should have learned one thing by now. Corey and Evan cannot do math on the fly.
Okay, but at least I don't get it off by 100, generally.
Yeah, really.
You knew what I meant. It just wasn't right. So, as we said, we are going into the final quarter of this race, as there are 52 laps to go, as Maxwell hard in the turn 2 fence, as he has just gone that 2nd lap down, and now the next person on the checklist is going to be Yazik, but Yazik is a good ways ahead with fresher tires, so I'm not sure if those fresher tires will overcome the blistering pace that the 70 has, but the only other driver on the lead lap at this point, Jeff Ward, is kind of holding a stable 8.5 seconds off, and last time by he was only 9/1000ths of a second slower. I mean, he is, as I said, kind of stabilizing, but just he has that huge gap that it's just he's not going to be able to eliminate without the help of yellow.
Yeah, the gap's kind of stabilized, but he needs to be about a half second quicker, and then go catch up to be able to catch up to Ekrich.
You know, Ward is a aspiring country singer, and that Bose number 90 car there, that Camaro ZL1, I just wonder what country song he's singing right now.
Oh, I'm trying to go and find an appropriate pun/accurate song title right now, and then it's just going across my brain right now empty-handed.
I'm wondering if he's got an achy breaky heart, because I think he came here thinking he could win.
Yeah, he's had a couple races slip by him. I mean, he's won plenty this season, but there were a couple that I think he maybe should have won that slipped by. He hasn't. Well, he did win Las Vegas, and then Scott Ekrich went back-to-back at Pocono and Darlington. But again, Mr. Win this season with his 6. Obviously, you want 7, and Jim, I mean, we've only covered we covered the Truck Series finale for you guys last season. We didn't cover the Cup finale. So, do you think that going into Homestead next week that these guys are going to have to win that race to get that title?
I'm pretty sure the level of competition that is going to be in the Final Four, you're going to have to win it. Mogard can win at any track that he goes to. Ward can win at any track that he goes to. The hot dog Ekrich is proving that he can win. And then it looks like Yazik's going to be the other one in, and I would not count Yazik out at all. I mean, if anything, all he's got to do is get in somebody's mirror, and they got to see the beard and fear the beard. So any of those four, they're going to be tied for the points. It's anybody's race at Homestead, and I do think you're going to have to win it, unless you get somebody out there that has nothing to lose, gambles on fuel or tires or something like that at the end of the race, and gets in front of them, because we know it's kind of hard to pass at Homestead.
Yeah, Homestead with that groove all the way up the top, but once it does go all the way to the top, it's really hard to get that groove to move back down, and so you will be rim riding, kind of running the Larson line up there, and having to really dig to run the bottom of the track and try to make those moves work. Maybe a couple slide jobs going on, but that is obviously a week away, or 2 weeks away. 2 weeks away, correct?
Yeah, 2 weeks away. I wonder if we can convince Kyle Larson to drive the 42 car for me there.
Yeah, he may be a little bit busy, but that'd be kind of
on a Tuesday night? Nah, he's not going to be doing anything.
He's going to be practicing on iRacing for his upcoming race, wouldn't he? On how to overshoot turn 1 massively.
Hey, we gotta talk about this before we go. Coming up next on PTR TV, women's paint drying.
Women's paint drying. Are we getting sexist now?
Well, no. See, they had the men's paint drying, and then the women got involved, and the men didn't feel right about it, so they've just divided it now. It's a house divided.
I have comments, but I also don't want to get myself in trouble by bringing up sensitive issues in case people are watching, so Jim, I'm going to let you have that one.
Yeah, we'll go with that. Hey, as fast as they can dry nail polish, they could probably dry wall paint a lot quicker.
Yep, so 40 laps to go, and on my timer that shows about 14 minutes of action here tonight. And again, we are wrapping up the season here in the Twitchy Race Reports Cup Series here, Martinsville Speedway, locking in the final 4 to be challenging for the championship at Homestead in a couple weeks. And Jim, I was going to say, I do remember going back to guys pulling stuff out of the hat, maybe on an unexpected fashion. I do remember in the race we covered on PTR TV for the Truck Series finale last season, there was a driver, Devin Serra, who had that race locked up on speed, but he didn't get the title, and it was kind of due to a pit call and a really lucky break for Jason Stewart.
Yeah, at the time, Jason and I were teammates, and we pretty much said we were doing a one-stop strategy on that race to try to beat them all, and it didn't quite work for me, as we were both in the top 4 last year, but it worked out very well for him.
And so that is stuff that we could see, and next week at Homestead, and well, actually 2 weeks from now at Homestead. Next week we will go back to the Sam Maxwell Customs Truck Series, as that playoff run still has a lot more rounds to go and a lot more things to decide. So want to stay tuned till the mid-November, as still have a good amount of content here on PTR TV on LSRTV to wrap up these 2 championship campaigns. Jim Foose in the booth with us tonight, and presumably for Homestead. I don't know if he's decided that yet, but he will be in the truck ready to compete for the series remainder, if I am correct in assuming that.
Yeah, we'll be in Talladega. We got a pretty big hole to try to crawl out of after our engine troubles at the road course, but we'll have the Brandt Professional Agriculture Breast Cancer Awareness Toyota Tundra up there, Talladega, and look to try to steal the win and get into the next round, because if we can get into the next round, we all know I've had a pretty good career at Texas Motor Speedway, so maybe we can steal another win there.
And then you got a couple interesting tracks in there. You got ISM Raceway, and track we haven't seen trucks run and recently, and they should be running it in reality, as we all know. Lucas Oil Raceway / IRP, first race of the playoffs for, well, the second round of playoff, first race of it for the Truck Series.
Yeah, and that track's going to be really interesting to see who's been practicing there, because it really doesn't get ran very much, so not many drivers are going to have too much experience on it, so we'll get to see who practices most, and it's going to pay off for them.
Future trivia question, by the way. I scored my first Truck Series win there. way back in the first year of the Truck Series 2005. So make sure somebody writes that down, because that will be a trivia question for Wicked Cushion December Dirt Week.
And that goes all the way back to an NR 2003 era track, I am assuming.
That would be correct.
So obviously a lot of stuff going on and a lot of interesting tidbits that one can learn here during these long green flag runs. And well, it's a very long green flag run in a, I believe it, you said an ASRS record green flag run that we are on right now. 172 laps and counting here tonight. The lead is now, it was about 8.5 last we checked it. Now it's pushing about 9.5 seconds, and we can see it is 6 drivers that are 1 lap. Well, 6 drivers right now are 1 or less laps down. 7th on back, Maxwell on back are over 2 laps back, and Mark Whitley did pull up behind the wall at some point, so now it is 14 drivers still actively on the speedway as we approach 25 laps to go.
And Eckridge is starting to close in on Brian Yazek to put him a 2nd lap down. Only about a quarter of a straightaway between those two.
By the way, any hate mail can be sent to Jim Foose, care of PTR TV.
We'll make sure that gets forwarded in the right direction. Usually the hate always goes to Corey Silva, but no, I don't really mind that. So we do our best here and try to do our best to cover these races and make them as entertaining as possible. Hope that there are plenty of people that enjoy it, but for those that don't enjoy it, that's fine too. Everyone is entitled to their opinion, but glad that everyone is tuning in still for this this race here today, and everyone who has been loyal following both PTR TV channel and our switch over to LSRTV for the remainder of the schedule thus far. And good to see the likes are in the positive favor on the video. Keep that up, fans, but also thumbs down if that's how you feel too. That's also fine, because all in all it all helps the videos out along. So show your opinion, positive or negative. We love learning, we love improving, and trying to do a better job each time we come out here.
How did Taylor Swift say that? The hater's gonna hate?
Don't even get me started, because I know every lyric to that song. And
please shake it off.
Shake it off. Shake.
I want to hear Corey sing that.
No, because Taylor Swift is very copyright royalty. Yeah, I don't need a strike here, because you know how good my voice is. It'll get flagged as a copyright strike. So.
Yeah, because you had the perfect singing voice.
Oh, I do. I would turn a couple chairs on the voice if I said so myself. I mean, hey, who was that guy, American Idol, that Asian dude that did Ricky Martin? William Hung. He actually had a really good career off not having a voice, so who says I can't be next?
You know, he had no professional training.
Really?
Just like I had no professional training at this tonight.
And to say that we try. This is all labor of love and learn over time. So, Jim, I think you're doing a fantastic job. If anything, you're a little bit cautious on making them calls, but that's what happens. As long as you do this, and I know you've shown some interest in it, and if you want to call Homestead, I think we'd be more than happy to have you join us for the championship race in 2 weeks' time.
You finally got it right, Corey. It's 2 weeks away.
Yeah.
Just 2 weeks, but tomorrow it'll be 13 days.
And if you're watching this 3 weeks ahead of time, it already happened. So go ahead and find that video on the archive list and make sure you watch it if you didn't already.
Corey, but what if you're watching it 4 weeks ahead of time?
Well, I mean, it's going to be on YouTube for a very long time. So, I mean, we could play that ball game and say if you're watching this 9 years from now.
If you're watching this 9 years ago?
Yes, but you have a time machine.
That Homestead race will be October 16th of 2018 for anybody that wanted the exact date.
I think me and Corey probably confused everyone.
Well, that's fun because it keeps everyone's brain active during this very long run. But again, jokes aside and kind of waffling on aside, does not take anything away from the absolute I mean, I want to say an expletive. I'll say butt whooping that Scott Eckridge is putting on these guys tonight. Up by 10 seconds, has lapped everybody except one driver almost multiple times at this point. And well, this is this is the kind of performance that you want to have heading into the most important race of the season, is going into that race, although on a completely different style of a track, going in as he does lap Yazik a second time, going in knowing that he absolutely spanked competition and being able to take that and try to carry it over.
Look at this battle with Maxwell and Yazik. I mean, Maxwell's getting a little dicey there.
This is 4th position, mind you.
Yeah, 6th and 7th on the track, and Maxwell, he's been quite a bit quicker than Yazik, but now Yazik is starting to pull away a little bit as Maxwell getting a bit free off of these corners. See if he can catch back up to him. And Yazik actually is on a little bit fresher tires than Maxwell.
Barring a catastrophe for Yazik, I think he's into Homestead, but that catastrophe could come from the front bumper of the 98 here at the closing laps.
I mean, anybody want to go back to 2014 and Ryan Newman punting Kyle Larson to put himself in the chase and getting taking out Jeff Gordon? It can happen. I don't expect it, but whoa, he sent it and it didn't receive because he got really loose there and lost everything he had. I mean, I was just going to say, I don't see it in Maxwell to do anything that drastic, but, well, hey, he may have had other intentions there or just drove it in a little bit too deep on ancient tires at this point.
You know, in my experience with Maxwell, he is against caution flags in racing and just doesn't like, you know, the normal run of, you know, 10, 15, 20 laps and then a caution. And I think he probably would like to see one of those cautions, but he probably wanted to see it about 100 laps ago.
Yeah, this new era of racing that we are now, actually there may be, if my timing and scoring is correct, we may have another battle for position right now. That's Harnish and Mogard, 3rd and 4th right now.
Mogard in 4th, Harnish currently in 3rd, but Mogard trying to pull to the inside. He is a little bit quicker. He is also on a little bit fresher tires, diving it down into turn 1. Side by side through the corner, bit of contact there, and Mogard's going to clear him and take that spot.
So going to the bottom step of the podium is Mogard, but you know, Harnish will try to see if he has anything to come back at him with, as into the fence there on the front straightaway was Mogard, but not enough to throw him off his game at all. Trying to maybe dive to the back bumper is the 44, but too far back and too loose on throttle, so it looks like Mogard will be able to carry on with that 3rd position.
Less than 10 laps to go now for Scott Eckrich.
Now, guys, I really, really, really wish we could have a reset, because these lap times, I mean, Eckrich is universally faster. I mean, if there's 10 laps, he'll be faster than Ward, about 7 of them, but they're close enough that if Ward was right on the back bumper, maybe Eckrich would make a mistake and we could see one of these battles, because they are not too far off on lap times.
Yeah, Mogard was actually the fastest car on track, or actually not even fastest on track. Jordan Harnish was with a 20.65, Mogard with a 20.7. So Harnish was actually the fastest car on track last time by.
Yeah, Harnish is looking for a grand slam here in that Denny's car. He wants a good finish, but you know, he really came out to win the race. He's not in the points, he's not in the playoffs, anything like that. He is in the points. It's far enough down the points that it has nothing to worry about. I think he was looking to come in here, score a win, steal a win away, and it just didn't happen tonight.
Yep, so we are finally coming towards the last set of laps here today. It'll be 5 laps to go for that number 70 machine with a 9.5 second buffer in the bank right now. So he literally could just, I mean, he could effectively run in 3rd gear from this point on and still win this race by a long gear. He just literally needs to keep it straight. Don't even need to put too much throttle on it. Make sure that thing just sails straight. Don't make any mistakes, and this race belongs to the 70.
Might be able to get the gap up to 10 seconds. It's at 9.7 now, and he's continuing to pull away. It's only 4 laps to go now.
I mean, at this point, I mean, I've had races like this, I mean, versus AI and other sims before. It's like you almost have a running goal of, can I get everybody a lap down? And there might be 1% inside of him right now. Darn it, I wish I could have got Ward a lap down and really pulled off the sweep, but came as close as you can get to doing so.
You tried to lap the field against the AI, Because when I used to run at Talladega, I tried to cause the big one. I'd get out front and wreck everybody.
Oh, I put it down to like 70%, you know, and just see what I could do. But I mean, that's the only way I could win those races on a gamepad. But we're coming to 2 laps to go, 1 mile of action remaining from Martinsville Speedway, and well, we've been waffling on, but again, we don't want to take anything away from what the 70 has done, and what everybody has done tonight. We've seen a green flag race, and now as the white flag comes out, we will certainly and definitively have a green flag run here tonight at Martinsville. We've run 199, coming to 200 laps of consecutive action tonight, and he had to get by Jeff Ward early in the race, but once he did, he set sail and pulled out to a 10-second lead, lapped almost the entire field. Scott Eckrich, in dominating fashion, takes the checkered flag at Martinsville.
And Jeff Ward is in turns number 3 and 4. Coming out of 4 now, and Jeff Ward's going to come home in 2nd.
And breaking my ticker entirely because he's a lap down, but Jared Mogart will be scored in 3rd, significantly back. So again, a absolute, just an unheard of race for a short track. I don't think anybody expected it to go that way, but sometimes that's just how the cookie crumbles, and you see races play out like this. But we will quickly go down the final rundown here at Martinsville and get you the post-race show. But again, let's give you the final results here from the Martinsville Speedway. With the victory tonight, and as we said, dominating fashion, it was Scott Eckrich leading 162 laps tonight. Jeff Ward led 28 early on, lost it, could never get it back. Mogard led a lap on a pit cycle, then Jordan Harnish and Mitch Brown, your top 5. Brian Yazik, Sam Maxwell, Mark Cohen, Jared Haggerty, and Troy Haight, your top 10.
In the rest of the field, we have Jason Stewart coming home in 11th, Tim Knott in 12th, Jack Wells in 13th, Richard Fletcher in 14th, Mark Whitley in 15th, and then Tyler Seville, Chris Titus, and Steve Buhala in 18th, round out this field.
So that is the finishing results here tonight. So we are just waiting for these guys to head into the booth with us to talk for some post-race interviews. So while those drivers get out of the cars and into the booth, we're going to step aside for a brief break and be right back with you. So please stay with us.
The yellow flag is out. Pit road is now open. Keep your eye on those gauges. We'll give you 4 tyres. 3, 2, 1, now.
And we're back here, PTR TV on LSRTV. After 200 laps of green flag racing at the Martinsville Speedway, we are back for the post-race show. Going to talk to the top 3 finishers here tonight, and Jim Foose has caught up with the third place finisher of Jared Mogard.
Thank you, Corey. Man, they need to get us like golf carts or something here to get down to the pit road a little quicker. Jared, great run there. We know that you locked yourself in last week at Indianapolis with that win. I picked you to win tonight because you were coming from the back, and every time you come from the back, you end up right there on the podium. So great run there. What were your thoughts when it went caution-free for so long at the beginning of the race? Did you have any thoughts early that it might go caution-free, or did that come later on in the race?
Nah, I figured we'd have a yellow, but then we got to about lap 75, and I'm like, oh, this might go all the way. So, needed the yellow. I think we'd had something for the leaders.
Now, this is one track that, since I didn't get to race this week with these duties, I didn't get to test on it. How was the car handling? How was it on the older tires? Did you start to slide around a little bit?
A little bit if you picked up the throttle too early on exit, but for me the car was good, and the tires were actually better the second run, so I think I finally did something right. Maybe would have been able to beat Jeff and them guys, but we didn't get a yellow to get caught up to.
So you're going to Homestead, and the three drivers that you're up against, the one just dominated tonight with Eckrich. Jeff Ward has been the dominator all season long. Yourself won at Indianapolis, and now Brian Yazik is going to go into the Final Four at Homestead. What are your thoughts on your three competitors as you go forward with that? I mean, what do you think about over the next 2 weeks leading into that race?
Honestly, racing for third, unless you're wrecked, but I don't know. We're going to need a lot of luck going into Homestead if we want a shot at it, but, you know, seeing at Indy, anything can happen, so hopefully something happens, and hopefully we're on the right end of it.
Hey, I am available to hop in a car for... No, wait, I'm not, but anyways, any shout-outs, thank yous, anything you got there on your mind?
Yeah, Nick Coppin, the Coppin Racing Graphics and Twitchy Race Reports for being on my car in the Cup Series, and you for the league, and the guys for the broadcast, and all the fans tuning in. Hope they enjoy.
Well, thanks, Jared. Nice run there. Pretty physical race there in the end, so good to see you get a third place finish, and good luck at Homestead in 2 weeks.
Thank you, appreciate it.
All right, and now I will talk to second place finisher tonight, Jeff Ward. All right, Jeff, it was a race that I don't think anybody expected tonight. 200 laps of green flag. You held the lead early in the run, but once Eckrich got by, was never able to fully recover from it. But you were running pretty comparable laps to him. Do you think if you had a caution, maybe you could have reset there and maybe gave him a fight?
Yeah, Corey, first off, congrats to Scott. Obviously, he had a very good car tonight. Even if they had a caution, I don't know if we could have done nothing with him. There was a reason he was 9 seconds ahead. It's because he's fast. We didn't have much long run speed. For whatever reason, I couldn't get the car to turn real well in the center, and I always have that problem every time I come here, no matter what car it is. Just can't get a grip on it. But he had it figured out. He was a little quicker, definitely on long runs. And it's awesome. We went, green for 200 laps. We did kind of need a caution. I guess we could have tried to ruffle some feathers, but that is a teammate. So, we're already in for Homestead, so there's no use really causing a scene or anything. But it went green. We never got that chance, and like I said, congrats to him.
Yeah, so as you said that, you knew you were headed to Homestead already, I assume. So what was your mindset going in today? Just to win for maybe some confidence, or were you already kind of set to Homestead and just trying to get through tonight?
Well, just like the real thing, I think momentum is everything. Yeah, I wanted to go out there and try to win the race. I think Scott was pretty much, once he started the race, he was locked into Homestead on points. So I felt like if we could have the speed to match him or a little quicker, then we'd have more momentum going into Homestead. But he was the fast one tonight. Next week is, I guess it's a mile and a half, so that's kind of back in our wheelhouse a little bit. Martinsville's never been one of my strong tracks, and I know Scott's going to be good at Homestead. He's locked up several championships, with that being the final race of the season many times. So it's going to be a battle. Mogard's quick. I think Brian locked himself into the 4. So it's 4 fast guys. I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully we can bring something for them next week.
Yeah, you've dominated this season with I think it was 6 wins, nearly got 7 a couple times this season, but again, season high in wins. So do you think next week it's going to be pretty much win for that championship? Do you think that it's going to take anything less than that?
Yeah, I think whoever wins the race is going to be the champion. Like Mogard said, unless somebody has trouble, or me and Scott race pretty clean. We've had a couple bump ins here and there, but I don't think we'd wreck each other for it. I think we'd race pretty clean, and like I said, I'm looking forward to it. And you never know, though, man. A lot of things could happen. Pit road speeding penalties, late race cautions, guys doing strategy. So there's no way to predict what will happen out there. We'll just hopefully bring a fast car and turn some good laps and try to stay out front.
All right, Jeff. So before we let you go, any final shout-outs, thank yous, anything you want to say tonight?
Yep, thanks to you guys for doing the broadcast. Thanks to Loud Pedal Motorsports. Thanks to Jim running a tight ship here. Things are looking good, especially with the green flags tonight. And just friends and family.
All right, thanks again, Jeff. And again, good luck at Homestead. Bring a good car, and we'll be watching you, man.
All right, thanks, guys.
And now Evan has caught up with the race winner tonight, Scott Eckrich.
Well, Scott, you win this race for your 3rd win of the season, 9.8 second gap back to Jeff Ward. What are your thoughts after this race?
I'm super happy, locked in. I mean, we were real good on the points and stuff, and I know there was a mathematical chance, but I'm just real happy to finally get a win that I thought, I felt like the last couple of weeks I'd just come up a little bit short one way or another there, and just really happy to finally get another win, going into the final race here.
Yeah, and coming into this race, I doubt anyone expected to have green flag pit stops at Martinsville, so did you just kind of, after 80 laps, think, hey, we might have some green flag pit stops here?
Yeah, I knew it's really weird. Some of these tracks that you would least expect it sometimes go green, and vice versa. So I knew it was a possibility. Didn't really expect it, but it was a pleasant surprise to have super good clean racing.
Yeah, next week, or 2 weeks from now, you're going to be going to Homestead racing for a championship. And how do you feel about that? I think you'll have a shot to go up there, get the win, and get the championship?
You always gotta. My teammate Jeff, he's a badass on these 1.5 mile tracks. So we're gonna give it all we got there, and we're definitely not gonna let him go easy.
All right. Well, is there anyone you would like to thank or give a shout out to after your victory here at Martinsville?
All the guys at Loud Pedal Motorsports, Jeff and Brian, both making their way into the chase there. Real happy about that. So we should have 3 of our guys going into the Final 4 there. And all the guys up in the booth here, and the league for putting on this stuff every week.
All right. Thanks for talking with us, and good luck at Homestead.
Thank you.
All right, so that is the post-race show tonight. The top 3 drivers here tonight at Martinsville after the 200 laps of green flag racing that we saw. So as we wrap up coverage, want to give a quick shout out to the channel sponsors here on the PTR TV side of things: Airmove and Fabrications, Kreutz Custom Graphics, overlays provided by iRacing Broadcast Overlay Graphics, and TrackCam's 4 Gourmets we used for the visuals tonight. So again, tonight's coverage of the Twitchy Race Reports American Sim Racing Series Premier Cup Series. I said that in the wrong order. I'm well aware of that, Jim. But a great race tonight by all these drivers, and you'll want to stay tuned Tuesday nights for the remainder of the 2018 campaign as we crown a champion in 2 weeks for the Cup Series. But we still have a ways to go in the Sam Maxwell Customs Truck Series on Tuesdays, as that playoff run is still about midway, and a lot to uncover and a lot to figure out what's going to happen there. And of course, want to stay tuned for the Integrity Racing League on Monday nights here on the channel. PTR TV bringing you this action live on LSRTV. So signing out of the booth tonight is Corey Silva, Evan Black, and special guest Jim Foose in the booth. And great job, Jim. Good to have you with us. But thanks everyone for tuning in. Have a great night, and we'll catch you next time.
Have a good night, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in.